Standing up to other adults. Simple scripts for complicated moments. Healthy lives are lived in communities with others. So, how can we parent differently from our community and still get along? If you want to be an authoritative, not an authoritarian parent, and aim to raise your kid to be an independent adult, be decisive and inclusive in what you say, make sure to give other parents a psychological out. What you do or say in any situation will vary based on the age of your kids, the situation at hand, and your readiness to speak up about what you believe. But these samples of things to say may remind you of your new path and help you speak up. When parents referee, when there are disputes over toys and turns, don't get involved. If another parent approaches you, politely and confidently say, maybe I'm old fashioned, but I really prefer to let the kids try to work it out. I know it can be hard to step back, but I think it's how kids learn. When parents chauffeur, if another parent wants to drive your kid somewhere, but you want your kid to walk, bike, or take public transportation, say, again, politely and confidently, no thanks. I really prefer that she go on her own. I'm confident she has the street smarts she needs, and I want to help her become more independent. When parents fetch and carry, if you overhear parents lamenting about having to drive their kids' forgotten lunchbox, backpack, or homework to school, be as straightforward as you dare and be gentle. You're just sharing a different perspective. You might try with a smile or a laugh. I make my kid suffer, otherwise he'll keep assuming I'll do it. When parents are personal assistants, let your friends know that you're putting an end to playing concierge and will no longer do for or clean up after your child beyond any age when it's appropriate to do so. Try, of course. I can do it faster or better, but she's got to learn this stuff for herself. I'm not going to be that parent who shows up to do everything for them in college. Say you're with some friends out for a walk, having coffee or cocktails, or at book club, the golf course, or the PTA, and your kid texts or calls you with a minor catastrophe. Let your kids hear you say, sorry to hear that, honey. How are you going to solve that? When parents do their child's homework, whether your kid is in kindergarten, 12th grade, or somewhere in between, raise your hand at back to school night and ask, what is your policy about parental involvement in homework? Can you help us understand where and how to draw the line when it comes to math, essays, school projects? If you do this in every class, you risk becoming that parent. But someone has to get this point across, and it might as well be you. If your kid wants you to be overly involved in homework by solving it, figuring it out, or writing it for them, try saying, I've been a 4th, 6th, 8th grader before, now it's your turn, and let your kids know how you handle the homework problem. Try, I could do it for them, but then I'll always be doing it for them. I don't want them to feel like they can't do it without me. When parents do all the chores, be an advocate for the importance of chores. Let people know that homework and extracurricular activities don't give kids a pass from household chores. Without chores, kids miss learning how to pitch in and how to work hard at tasks that may be unpleasant. Share what your kids do for chores, and maybe you'll hear other great chore ideas from friends. When you're at PTA, Scouts, or some other meeting involving projects, parents, and children, be the voice in the room that says, how can we give our kids more responsibilities for this job / activity / event / project? I don't want them to just stand around while we do all the work. When parents chart their kids' life path, Picture yourself at a social function where people are checking in with each other about their kids. When you're asked what your son or daughter is interested in or is headed toward academically or career wise, say joyfully, I really have no idea. It's entirely up to him, or I want her to just figure out what she's good at and what she loves and to make the most of that, whatever it is. And he's really into hiking, painting, books, puzzles, numbers. I'm not sure what he'll do with that, but I'm supporting him in developing that talent and interest. When you hear people say that their kid has to do a certain activity at a certain level for college, laugh or sigh and smile as you say, well, we've stopped trying to predict what some small set of colleges may want, and we've started just living our life, which turns out to feel much better. Be prepared for stunned silence. Smile big and say, seriously. Um, I didn't do that. As a parent, I did not do that. When my child did not know what to do, we went and took a test to find out what her skills were. Her, they have them at churches. You can take your kid to a church and you can let them take a test to figure out what their gifts, what are they gifted with. And that's what we did with our child. We went and had her take a test, and we found out what her gifts were, and they were towards, she was really gifted in teaching. She had that gift. So she still wasn't really sure what she wanted to do, but we told her she did not have to be a teacher, that she could just having a degree would get her foot in the door to most places. And that was the thinking on that. So, like I said, this book here that I'm reading, you need to just take it with a grain of salt, and you really need to just not listen to what other people say, but read their stuff, but then whatever you feel in your heart, that's what you got to go with. So there you go.